Imagine this with me. You are a farmer who has worked on your farm since you were young. You have many fond, great memories of growing up. Farming is your life. You want your crops to be strong and healthy for generations and generations to come. With sustainability in mind, you think you could be adding too much nitrogen to the plants, but under-fertilizing could be bad because it could decrease your yield and profit. Although nitrogen is one of the key nutrients in plant growth, large quantities can be harmful. You need to find a new, modern technology to help find a way to estimate the right amount of nitrogen for proper application. Now this seems like a very big problem, but this is not an issue with using PhotosynQ in their multispec. With this simple, handheld, multi-spec device, you can evaluate the relative chlorophyll content in the leaves, which relates to the nitrogen status of these plants. With this correct information, you can now apply the right amount of nitrogen to the plants without any of those negative side effects of using too much. You're happy now and can protect your crops for many generations to come. This is just one little story of the many ways that PhotosynQ can help identify and solve issues to keep your plants healthy and strong. You may be thinking to yourself, this PhotosynQ and multispec are pretty awesome tools, but what exactly are they? What exactly do they do? And how do they do what they do? Well, let me tell you. PhotosynQ is a platform that allows scientists to use the multispec to measure photosynthetic efficiency. PhotosynQ enables project development, data collection, and statistical analysis from all measurements uploaded from the multispec. The multispec is a handheld, lightweight instrument that can take a multitude of photosynthesis measurements in seconds. Once a measurement is taken in the field, greenhouse, or growth chamber, it is wirelessly transmitted to a supported Android device where the researcher is able to download the data to the PhotosynQ platform on their desktop. Now PhotosynQ is quite the amazing platform, and you can do some pretty awesome things. For instance, they have a global community, so researchers and scientists can collaborate from all over the globe. And through their community edition, you can search for other projects and see what people are up to, and even make contributions from a bunch of different locations. Now there are 3 different platforms you can work from: the web application, the desktop application, and the Android mobile phone, and each one has their own purpose. So now we will go through the web application. So when you log in through the community edition of the PhotosynQ website, this is the first page it brings you to. And so now we'll just go through on how to create a project and get started. So you'll go over here to the left and select New Project, and then it will bring you to this page. And so typically most of the work you'll be doing with is plants, so you can select plants as your category, and then you can create a project name. And so for our purposes, I'll just use demo, but when you create your own project, you will want to make sure that the title is descriptive and describes everything that you're doing with the project and gives a nice overview so you can distinguish it from other projects and you're able to easily find your project. But once you're satisfied with your name, you can start New Project. So now you can select the protocol that you want to use for your project. And the most common one that you will use is photosynthesis rides. So you can go over here and select it. And then on the right, you will see a description pop up of all of the measurements that this protocol takes. And this one encompasses everything that the multispec can do. And so it is the most commonly used protocol for any project. So once you are satisfied with one you picked, you can hit Save and Next. Now you can add questions to your project. I added a few examples here just to show you what it will look like, but let's go through how to add the questions. So you'll go over here and select Add a Question. You have multiple different choices, so the multiple choice is good if you know what answers you're going to have. Then also multiple choice with images, but you will want to make sure that you have connection to Wi-Fi, otherwise the images won't load, so a greenhouse or a growth chamber. And short answer is good if you don't know what answers you'll get or there's too many answers to add in a multiple choice. You can also take a picture if there's visual symptoms or observations that you want to take with every single measurement that you have. And then the final option would be to upload questions or answer using a spreadsheet. And so let's do a multiple choice question as an example. So you would type in the question up here, and then you can add your answer choices and add more answer choices down here. And then once you are satisfied with all of your answers, you can select Save. Let's close out of this. And so I added an example of a multiple choice question. Does this plant have flowers? And you can see I added the answer choices yes and no. And then also what plant is being measured is a good example of a short answer, so you know what ones you're going to have. And then are there visual symptoms is a good example of taking a picture. But these don't really make sense the order that they're in. You would want this one to be in front. So we would select reorder questions and bring what plant is being measured to the first position. And then once you are satisfied, you can click Done Reorder. So now the order makes sense. And once you are satisfied with all of your questions, you can select Save and Next. So now this is where you can add your project location. And this is optional, but it helps you find other projects that are close to you and other projects that are similar to yours in different locations, and also helps PhotosynQ know where all of their multi-specs are being used. So I'm going to leave our location as Lansing because that's where I currently am, and then if you want to, you can leave it just like that and then hit Save and Next. Here you can add a description of your project. For ours, I just put in demonstration project, but for yours you would typically want to describe what you're doing and the type of experiments you're conducting, so when people come across your project they kind of get an idea of what type of experiment you are conducting. And then you will select a category. So typically it will be like research or some type of agricultural extension, but for our purposes I'll select education. And then also you can add a cover photo, and this just helps you identify your project and find it easier. And then once you are satisfied with all of that, you can select Save and Next. So now you get to review your project. So this shows you everything you've imported and everything you've selected. So just to make sure that everything is correct, you can go through here and make sure you have everything you want to be included in your project. And once you are satisfied with that, you can select Save and Next. And the final page is you can manage your sharing preferences. So if you want anyone to be able to contribute to your project, you can leave it as anyone. Otherwise, you can do collaborators only. And then you'd be able to invite collaborators so they can share data on your account through their PhotosynQ account. Once you are satisfied with all of your settings, then you can select Create Your Project. So now your project has been saved successfully, and it will show this page, which is just the overview of your project. And if you click on your icon over here, it'll bring you back to your first page, and then you can see that your demo project was created. The second platform is the Android mobile phone. You can connect your phone to the multi-spec and log your data in the field. And then once you reconnect to Wi-Fi, you can upload all of your measurements from the phone to the web application. Now we will go through the parts of the multi-spec in the Android mobile phone application. The third and final platform is the desktop application, and what really sets it apart from the rest of them is you can create your own macros and protocols. So if you didn't want to take all of the normal measurements that the multi-spec does take, you can select certain measurements and create your own macro to personalize your experiment. Now we will walk through the desktop application. This is the first screen that pops up when you open it. It has a list of all of the projects that you have created. Next, if you go to your notebook, this is where you could take a measurement right off of your laptop. This is helpful if you're in a greenhouse or a growth chamber and have access to Wi-Fi. The next tab is the protocols, and this lists all the protocols that you have created for your project. You can also create your own macros using the desktop application, and this is really helpful if you have a specific measurement that you want to take for your project. You can specifically design your experiment. And this is where you can edit all of your protocols to tailor-make them to your project. Now that you know a little bit about PhotosynQ, you can start thinking about how PhotosynQ can help you.